Hello everyone! So today I just cranked out my sketchbook and decided to do some more flower drawings like I did last time. My camera actually malfunctioned the last time I was doing a drawing, and so as you can see, the flower that I did last time is now watercolored and inked, which is a process that I had recorded, but the file got corrupted and so we weren't able to see it anymore. So I decided that I would take it in Strive and just do another flower and then show you the watercoloring for that one. I actually ran out of space on my camera just a little bit after starting the watercolor. However, I noticed it pretty right away, so there's just a little bit at the starting of the watercoloring that you'll notice, but it's not too big of a deal, I don't think. So this flower I'm using reference because I'm not really good at knowing what flowers look like just off the top of my head. And the reference picture had it as purple, so that's the color that I chose to do it with kind of, not a gradient necessarily, but kind of like a darker part of the petal in the center of the petal, and then as it goes toward the center of the flower and away from the center of the flower, it gets lighter. It's a lot easier to explain once you see it. So I'm just sketching in like a lot of different petals because I like it to look really full, and then I added a stem onto it. Now, this flower, I don't think it's a daisy. It does have a lot of petals, though, but the petals are quite thick. I actually don't know much about anything about flowers. And so it was kind of difficult for me to, like, know what looked right and what didn't look right. And so I finished sketching, so now I'm going to have to ink it, but I normally do watercolor before I ink it, and as you can see, I forgot to like lightly erase the sketch before I did this one petal, so then I had to do it afterwards and hope that that one petal was going to be okay with like the eraser shavings, because I still use like a regular eraser, not a kneaded eraser. So it's really hard to see in the video, but I can see the flower print still very well, like from the indent on the page, even though it kind of just looks like I erased the whole thing. So now you can see what I'm talking about when I'm saying that in the center of each individual petal, I'm making it really dark, and then it'll have a gradient when it moves towards the center and away from the center of the flower. So I'm using just regular Crayola watercolor that a lot of the watercolor community like rags on, but I'm not good enough with just regular watercolor, I think, to like move to like really expensive watercolor, because there are some that are like ridiculously expensive, and so I would like to get better at watercolor. Normally I just actually sketch. I don't really finish a lot of the drawings that I do. They're kind of left unfinished and as sketches in my sketchbook. I got into digital art about 2 years ago. I did a lot of digital art, and then I hopped out of it when I went overseas, and then getting back, I've kind of just continued the sketching I was doing overseas. But I learned a lot while I was over there about a lot of different things, including art. So I think it made my art really good too. Soon is going to be that jump, and there it is, the jump in the video. But that jump was good because it also gave me like time to leave the flower to dry, which is why I go like right in with my inking and I don't have to wait for it, right? Also, I didn't want the center of the flower to be too dark, which is why I dab it with the tissue. Is because when you do that, as it's like still drying, you take up the pigment a little bit as well. So I'm actually using the brush that originally comes with the Crayola set, and people have a lot of I'm umming a lot, I'm sorry. They have a lot of problems with different paintbrushes, and like I said, like I just don't know enough about painting and watercolor to really have a preference on any of that. So I'm actually just using the paintbrush that came with the set, though it does lose bristles when you paint. Sometimes you'll have bristles like in the water or in your actual painting, but it's not that hard just to remove them, but it is like a little annoying. In this to ink, I'm actually using a Sharpie pen. I find that like with the previous flower, I used just a regular pen and it didn't go over the watercolor as well, so then I had to like redo some of it with the Sharpie pen. And so because it has like a really thick line and I find it really nice to use, that's what I decided to use for outlining it. I have yet to make like a splot, I think is what it's called. I'm supposed to be artsy, I should know these words. Swatch? Spot? Like a reference sheet for what the different colors look like when they're dried and on paper. I've yet to do that for this set yet, so I'm probably going to do that pretty soon. I'm not sure if I want to record it or not, because I think it's quite boring, but maybe I could talk about what I think of the colors, even though this is the only experience with watercolor that I have. So with that, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to watch me do some more art videos. Thank you!